Good morning. I want to thank all of you for joining me today as we celebrate another important investment in our county. I want to thank the folks who've joined us. Representative Theresa Mah, Alderman Byron Sigcho-Lopez, Instituto del Progreso, Alderman George Cardenas, Instituto del Progreso Latino Executive Director Ayala-Bermejo. I hope I did that right. Okay, good. I understand we have some program participants as well who Carina will introduce. I want to thank all of you for being here. Today we celebrate an $80,000 grant through our Justice Advisory Council to Instituto del Progreso Latino's work on the southwest side of Chicago. And what impactful work that is. Carina will speak to this in a moment, but the funds from the grant will support the Rudy Lozano Leadership Program at Instituto Justice and Leadership Academy, or IJLA, located in Little Village where we stand today. This is an alternative school that provides students with a rigorous academic program while simultaneously providing strong social emotional supports. The school's philosophy is rooted in social justice and focuses on rebuilding students' perspective of learning in order to navigate life in a meaningful and purposeful way. At its core, the goal is to help our young people to be productive agents for change throughout their lifetime. As a former high school teacher myself, I'm proud to support this invaluable resource to our marginalized young adults. The funding for the grant will help ensure IJLA participants have access to case management services, mental health services, college and career counseling, paid work-based learning opportunities, community services experience, restorative justice training, and more. We've learned that we must invest in people and our communities if we hope to see positive change in our neighborhoods. And this investment has to start from the ground up, with our youth first and foremost. This approach has the power to transform marginalized communities throughout Cook County. And that's what we're here to talk about today, community transformation. This grant is part of a $1.5 million investment in community-based organizations through our Justice Advisory Council, aimed at creating stable and thriving communities. While some may look at the problems we face and choose punitive, reactionary measures to address them, we stand committed to continuing the work toward real solutions. Investing in our youth and providing them with opportunities to thrive is one of the most critical aspects of this puzzle. I'm proud to say this is just the beginning. The investment we're talking about today is a down payment toward Cook County's overarching strategy aimed at reimagining the issues we're facing in our communities. Combined with other equity-focused initiatives, the county will invest roughly $120 million in fiscal year 21 and fiscal year 22. We are advised by the Equity Task Force, a 50-member group including representatives from other Cook County agencies, advocates, community-based organizations, and philanthropic, civic, and academic institutions. Through the Equity Fund, Cook County will help tackle this investment by supporting systemic change and by assisting with services that have proven to change lives for the better. Now, I'd like to ask Alderman George Cardenas to say a few words.
Thanks, Madam President, for your leadership on this issue and many others. I also want to obviously thank Carina Bermejo from Instituto. Thank you for allowing us to be here, and the other elected officials that are here with us. Theresa Mah, Sigcho-Lopez, my neighbor Anaya, Commissioner Anaya, all phenomenal leaders. To me, this is a transformative effort for not just our youth, but also our institutions like Instituto del Progreso Latino, who really at the core of what they teach. They're young there at the school, how to collaborate, how to make peace. And we know that punitive actions is not the answer. Our youth need to know that someone's behind them, someone is there to lean on, that they can obviously not just focus on learning, but know that the answer is not violence, it's not conflict, but conflict resolution. So this grant, I hope many others come, and I hope that Instituto is there to be really a nest for so many transformative ideas that are before us and our challenges in our communities. So I thank the leadership of Instituto as well as the local aldermen for making it happen here in this community in Pilsen, right next door. It's mine, and I'm just so proud of you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize, Alderman Sigcho-Lopez. Alderman Cardenas' name came up first. I didn't realize this was actually your ward. You should have been first. Let me give you a chance to say a few words. Alderman. How are you?
Good morning and buenos dias. Let me first thank President Preckwinkle, Commissioner Anaya, and the county officials for showing us the way through leadership and action about what is needed in our communities. Also, let me thank and commend the Instituto del Progreso Latino team for all your efforts to make sure that we provide educational opportunities and violence prevention programs for our youth. To Carina Bermejo, Jennifer Ventimiglia, and Dre Rodriguez, who will be working very closely here on our communities to show initiatives that work. As we welcome our families and our children back to school, I think it's very critical for us to show responsibility in such times in our city by investing in our youth. These are the kind of grants that our youth need today more than ever to talk about violence prevention and investing in what research shows that work, which is programming, and effective programming that engages our youth. Programming that engages in media initiatives that shows our youth and encourages our youth to continue to engage in our educational system is critical. That's how we're gonna keep our community safe. That's what research shows, and that's what we need to invest on. And I urge City Council officials to follow suit and invest in initiatives like this and complement this kind of initiatives so that we can expand capacity. Today more than ever, our youth need investment, not repression. That's what we need for our communities. I really want to commend the Instituto del Progreso Latino team and the county officials for showing us the way, and my commitment to continue to support their efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alderman Cardenas and Alderman Sigcho-Lopez. We're grateful to have with us Commissioner Alma Anaya, grateful to our Board of Commissioners for their strong support for our criminal justice reform efforts, including our Justice Advisory Council grants. Commissioner Anaya.
Thank you, Madam President. And again, I want to just, commend everybody that's here, because we have so many entities here. We have the state, the county, and the city, and of course our community partners that are really realizing and continue to press and advocate for these types of funding. So again, thank you so much to the Instituto for having us here, for hosting us. I'm really excited to be announcing this $80,000 grant. Not only because it's $80,000, but it's because it's such a small piece to all the other programs that the county has been able to fund. So through the County Justice Advisory Council, we know that it is extremely important to be funding the programs. And in my district, since the JC actually started a few years back, we've been able to invest $1.9, almost $2 million across the Justice Advisory grants that traditionally go to recidivism reduction, restorative justice, and violence prevention. So the county is really taking a holistic approach on how we deal with our criminal justice system. How do we invest? How do we prevent? And that's what's important here today. That's what we're celebrating here today. And that's why we're excited to be here with the Instituto del Progreso Latino, to be able to advocate for this type of funding. Like Alderman Byron Sigcho-Lopez said, not only at the county level, but be able to be pushing at the state and at the city level, to be able to help continue to provide opportunities for youth, for self-reflection, for critical thinking, for problem solving, for collaboration, and conflict resolution, which is exactly what this program does. And we know it works. We know that this investment will make the worlds of a difference. And we know that we at the county and other levels need to continue to advocate and continue to fund these programs because this really does change people's lives. It changes youth's lives. And we have seen it so much more these past 2 years with the pandemic, with what we've seen with our youth rising up and advocating for their communities. And it's extremely, again, critical that we do that. So, brevemente en español, me llamo Alma Anaya, soy la comisionada de este distrito. Bienvenidos a todos los que están aquí. Me da mucha alegría hoy día estar aquí porque estamos celebrando un granito de arena de lo que puede hacer un gobierno para ayudar a nuestros jóvenes, para ayudar a la violencia que se ve en nuestras calles, para ayudar a nuestras comunidades que tengan las herramientas necesarias para poder tener una comunidad sana, una comunidad donde todas las personas, incluso los jóvenes, son parte de eso. El condado ha invertido casi $2 millones nomás en mi distrito, nomás en el distrito 7 por los últimos años. Y queremos que más niveles de gobierno también hagan eso, porque este tipo de inversión hace un importante papel para poder tener estos recursos a nuestros jóvenes. Y por eso estoy sumamente alegre aquí estar con Carina, igual con todos los del Instituto del Progreso Latino, igual con los electos que nos acompañan hoy día para celebrar esto, porque aunque sean que son $80,000, ese 80 también refleja que hay millones más de dólares en otras comunidades, en otras organizaciones que se han invertido para hacer la diferencia. So, muchísimas gracias a la presidenta Toni Preckwinkle por tener esto y gracias al Justice Advisory Council que ha tomado esto y ha tenido un liderazgo muy importante en este proyecto. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're very grateful for the help and support we've gotten at the state level, in particular the legislation that was enacted at the beginning of this session that was part of one of the 4 pillars of the Black Caucus legislation, criminal justice reform. And we've always been able to count on Representative Theresa Mah to support that effort, and I want to welcome her today.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm State Representative Theresa Mah. I represent this community in the Illinois General Assembly. Very proud to do so. I'd like to congratulate Instituto del Progreso Latino and the leadership of Executive Director Karina Bermejo and for getting this grant and for the county for making this investment into this community. It's an investment in the values and of education, equity, social justice, and opportunity for the people of this community, and it's really important. It's a great compliment to the investments that we've made at the state level supporting these very values. And so I'm very proud to be here as to congratulate Instituto and to underscore the importance of all this work in the community, and congratulations and thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative. And now I'd like to introduce our Executive Director, Carina Bermejo, and I would ask her to not only talk about this organization, but about the ways in which this grant can support the work.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Cook County President Toni Preckwinkle. Such an honor to have you here at Instituto today. Thank you, Commissioner Anaya. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Commissioner Anaya, Alderman Cardenas, Alderman Byron Sigcho-Lopez, Representative Mah. Your presence here today is so meaningful. Let us acknowledge that today is a beautiful sunny day, perfect for the first day of school. The sun is shining so bright here, but not as bright as the future of our children's within this building. Our students, our familia, are learning right now as we speak. It's also critically important to showcase that the words restorative on this side and justice on this side are not just words. It's something that every single day here at Instituto del Progreso Latino we live. It is my sincere honor to be the president and CEO of Instituto del Progreso Latino, where our mission is to ensure that immigrants and their families reach their fullest potential, and we do that through education, training, and employment. You know, a kid like me who was an immigrant, who came to this country with no home, no English, and not a lot other than dreams, I am honored to be heading an organization that believes in the very same values, that every immigrant can reach their full potential, but we just need the pathway. Here at ISHCA, you feel a certain magic. You feel that the student-centered approach and the restorative learning that is happening within those walls is transforming our students into change agents, right? These are for students who traditional education didn't work out, right? But we embrace their resilience, their genius, their activism, and transform them into student leaders, revolutionary scholars. So I'm so grateful to the Justice Advisory Council for this $800,000, but not just because of the money, because of the hope that government works and sees our community, our students, as a place to invest. Specifically, this grant will go to the Rudy Lozano Leadership Program. This critical investment in our youth has the power, right? It is the power to empower our youth and to help transform Cook County communities throughout. It really is all about taking a community that we know has so much potential. Kids like me can become lawyers and leaders, right? All of our kids can be whatever they imagine and they dream to with a little bit of help. And it's our responsibility to do so. So our community is affected by violence, housing instability, unemployment, mental health, and crime can do it with some help. Here at ISHCA, founded in 1996, it's a second opportunity high school, right? We know that the critical age of high school and through young adulthood, 16 through 21, we need places like this. We need places where personalized and individualized high school programs where students, our familia, can make a transformative difference. So ISHCA empowers students to be the next generation of revolutionary scholars. Through this restorative learning and student-centered curriculum, they reclaim their education and transform into these wonderful human beings that are out in the community, rooted in social justice, and rebuilding their perspective, and that's what's critical, rebuilding their perspective on learning so that they become lifelong learners. I could not be more proud than the leadership and the alum that represents Instituto here. We have many with us today, and there is no more beautiful way to share what we do than to hear from their voices. But remember, when you want peace, we must all work towards justice. And someone who works towards justice every single day is Jennifer Mentemia, our principal. Would you please join me?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here on our first official day of classes. We started last week with our orientation and are just really inspired to have you all here showing your support for our school, for our youth, and for the work that we do. As Carina mentioned, my name is Jennifer Ventimiglia. I'm the proud principal of Instituto Justice and Leadership Academy, or as we belovingly call it, Rudy, in honor of the great Rudy Lozano. And each day we just try and live his legacy in making sure that everything we do is rooted in social justice. I'm humbled to be the school principal. This is my third year, and I feel so welcomed by the community. As soon as we open our doors, it just comes pouring in with support. And that's why this grant that we received is so fundamental to support the work that we're doing. When Edwin Gonzalez, our amazing art teacher, and myself wrote the grant, we had in mind our most at-risk students, those that have experience with the criminal justice system, that have faced incarceration, that have faced profiling by the police, that daily struggle, kind of being at odds with the community, being outcast. That's what brings students to our school. Everyone comes here for different reasons, whether refugee status, incarceration, pregnancy, mental health concerns. And even though the reasons that bring us here are very diverse, what unites us is this dedication to really rethink the way that we do education here. We model our practice on Paulo Freire and this idea that we're all students and we're all teachers, and each year we build together. And with this grant in mind, what we have, our vision for that is really supporting the work that Edwin, that Dre Rodriguez, who you'll hear from, Pedro Lopez, has been doing with our most at-risk youth, providing them opportunities for recreational experiences, to get out of the city, to go camping, to be in nature, to form another sense of community outside of the street so that they can develop this even stronger idea of what a family is, what is a familia, how do we support each other, how do we project our future vision beyond prison, beyond death, to see that they are the light that is shining ahead of us and that are the ones that are going to help us solve these issues because we can't do it alone. And so it's really inspiring to see how there's so many actors here, whether in the political realm, whether in the NGO realm, the aldermans, Byron Sigcho-Lopez, his support is so incredible in our ward because he knows that to really tackle the problem of violence, it's not, just about putting more cameras or putting more police officers. It's about working together to get to the root of what restorative justice really is. And restorative justice is an approach where we humanize each individual, where we see what is the support not only of the youth but of their families. So everything from mental health services to jobs to recreational opportunities to daycare, all of these things that we need to continue to invest in to make the realities possible for what we want to see in our community. So again, I thank you for this opportunity. Our youth are definitely going to help build with us and use the grant not only to form a familia, form community, get out into nature and have opportunities to reflect, to practice circle, to identify kind of the root causes of harm that have been experienced and to have opportunities to repair the harm, but also to engage in a lot of digital media works. And so you'll hear a little bit more about that from Dre, but what we're really proud of is that not only are students using digital media to capture their stories, their narratives, to be able to showcase what it is, how they see their community, to reshift the narratives that sometimes we see and to amplify their voices, but to also support local businesses, to create websites, to create social media accounts, to support local businesses that have been hard hit from the pandemic. So we're only starting little by little just the therapy really that needs to occur, not only from the trauma that has been suffered by the pandemic, but also through the violence that has been increasing in the community. And through these tools, it's going to give us a really great opportunity to continue working together, processing, and making something really great happen. So again, thank you for joining us here on this very hot and sunny day. And I look forward to many more years of working together to support our youth, our families, and our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And today we have Dre Rodriguez from Love City Media. He's been working really close with our students to share a few words.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Dre Rodriguez, and I'm a lifelong Pilsen resident. Been born and raised in this neighborhood my entire life, and I do community work here in the neighborhood, based around youth mentoring, violence prevention efforts. And before I start, I just want to thank Byron for introducing me to Alma Anaya last year. And I requested a meeting with Alma Anaya at her office, and she actually was the one that recommended we look into this particular grant. So after that meeting, we went back to St. Paul Church, which is the place that I work out of here in the community, and just seeing that we didn't have the capacity to require everything that the grant was asking on an administrative level, I reached out to Jennifer, because I think it was a perfect fit for what they do here at the school. So we talk a lot about about collaboration, and I just want to thank everybody involved for making that happen, from Byron to Alma to Jennifer to the school here, for just even allowing us to enter these spaces. I don't think people sometimes realize how important it is to let people from the community into these type of spaces, because the youngsters that are here, once they see people they see in the neighborhood inside the school, it gives an opportunity to talk to them in a different space, in a different setting, in a safe setting, and it kind of allows them to express themselves a little bit more freely, put their guard down a little bit, and you start seeing who they are instead of who people portray them to be. So one of the initiatives that we're big on is digital media, for the part of controlling our own narrative. Multiple times we've seen people from outside of the community come and do pieces on our neighborhood, and they're the ones that put the narrative out. They're the ones that control the narrative, and for the most part, our community really doesn't have any say-so, any direction of what their narrative is or what the message is. So I want to empower these kids to take control of that. And if that means we have to pick up our own camera and film our own stuff, do our own audio, do our own lighting, do our own script writing, whatever it is that we want to do, then that's what we got to do. But so that's kind of like what Love City Media is all about. A lot of the kids from the street said I should have called it No Love City, but I'm like, no, we got enough of that on the street. So we want to show love to the whole city, not just Pilsen. Little Village, Brighton Park, back of the yards, Humboldt Park, Austin neighborhood, North Lawndale. We work with everybody. So I just want to thank you again, everybody, for allowing me to be here today and, speak to everybody. And so I don't do this work by myself. So really quick, I want to know if I'm allowed to let my brother, Pedro Lopez, come and say a few words.
Hey everybody, good morning. Thank you for coming out and supporting the efforts, and we're grateful to be doing the work as well, right? Just to piggyback off Dre, just to be able to take these guys away from what they've normalized today, right, and show them that this ain't normal, show them a different normal, and continue to grind them out, work the one-on-ones, work the community, continue to build relationships and community everywhere we go, so that's really important to us, and like Andre said, we're a little bit of everywhere, but this is our home base right here. So we're proud and happy to be working with Jennifer and her allowing us the space to work with the youth. It has been a true blessing. I know the time is short. I wish I could share some of all the stuff we've been doing over the summer and stuff like that, but truly grateful, man, and just to know, right, the money that's here now is good, but there's a lot more work to be done. There's a lot more work to be done, and we just hope this is the beginning of something, long term, to start seeing real results in our communities and in our neighborhoods and in our youth, most importantly, that they get a different narrative and a different mindset of what it is that's going on, and take control, right, of what is being said about them, right, and be a light, right, a reflection of what it is they're learning and doing, So with that, thank you guys, everybody who's investing and who's backing the play, and we're grateful and thankful. Be blessed.
Thank you so very much. So without further ado, I think that the proof is in the graduates, and we have two graduates here who are just superstars. If I could have Carina Gutierrez and Sebastian Zamora, I know that you will be sharing a few words, and they're now members of our team, which makes it all just so fulfilling to see Sebastian, to see Carina, my tocaya, here in leadership roles.
Hello. From the moment I started at Rudy, I instantly felt at home. I had never been to a school where I felt as supported. My first day from the beginning, Jennifer, our principal, sat down with me to see how she could better support me. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do until I got here. And Rudy helped me find my purpose, which is to help our youth. I think every time I sit down with a youth and I talk to them, I see myself in them, having to grow up in the community with very little resources. I think this is a big help for our students and hopefully we can get more funding to be able to offer more support for our students.
Thank you, Sebastian. And this time.
Desde el momento que vine a Rudy, me sentí muy apoyado. Desde mi primer día, la directora Jennifer se sentó conmigo para ver cómo me podía apoyar mejor. Y ahora cada vez que me siento con un estudiante para apoyarlo, me veo dentro de ellos mismos. Ojalá podemos recurrir más recursos para poder apoyar nuestros estudiantes más.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Carina Gutierrez. I'm a very proud graduate, class of 2009 from Rudy. And thank you. And yeah, I consider myself, a little bit about myself, I consider myself to be a troubled youth. And I always was a troubled youth. And at the age of 17, I was incarcerated. I was born and raised in a little village. There were no resources for students after school, so I resorted to the streets. At the age of 17, I was incarcerated. I got out at the age of 18, and I was looking for schools because I had to be enrolled at a school. It was mandated, and no one, was able to enroll me in due to the time being. And I came to Rudy, and without hesitation, they took me in, and I was enrolled here. I was a student here for about a year, and throughout my entire enrollment, I was not judged. I was very supported. I was accompanied to court every time, and the teachers would write letters on my behalf. They gave me the opportunity that no one else wanted to give me, and I'm forever grateful for them. I'm really grateful for this grant that allows our students to be part of, because it's definitely something that's needed in our communities. Especially like they mentioned, the marginalized ones. So yeah, I'm really happy that we have this opportunity. Really grateful for our principal, Jennifer Ventimiglia, that she has done a lot of great change here at our school with the students in mind at all times. And then after I graduated Rudy, I always knew I wanted to be back here in the space to as well like share my story and support students just how I was supported when I was a student here myself. So this is my 7th year here at the school, and really happy to be here.
Tell us your role.
Oh, I'm the registrar at the school.
So wonderful always to hear from our students. There is such a magic that happens within Rudy because of the student-led approach at learning, and because the restorative justice that is on our wall is lived every single day. So I wanted to thank everyone for joining in the celebration, thank all of our elected officials to show that government really works when you work together, and open it up for any questions. Absolutely. I'll have Jennifer join me, but in high-level overview, the program itself is the Rudy Lozano Leadership Program. Specifically, we'll be covering some staff stipends and salaries, and ensuring that there's case management services, mental health services, college and career counseling, work-based learning opportunities, community service, restorative justice training, and all the wonderful digital work that you heard Drew speak about through Love Media. And anything else specifically?
Sure. So we're really proud here to have a lot of community partners. The Alternative School Network, I can't not mention, because they've also provided us with a lot of resources that help support this wraparound services that Carina was talking about. This grant specifically is for our most at-risk youth who work with Dre, Pedro, and Edwin in circle keeping. And so we also have like an After School Matters program that supports the work of circle keeping, but there's a lot of facets of restorative justice. With this approach, it's really training the youth so that they can be peer mediators and not only mediate conflict that occurs within the school, but within their community. So we've seen that by training our youth on the circle practice, they're able to then adapt that to their familial settings, their friends. We've led circles that have included family members and students. If there are sometimes violent conflicts, we'll bring in our community partners, family members as well. Because with the idea of circle is that it's a healing practice where you identify what's really the root cause of the issue, and then identify what are the ways that we can form acuerdos or kind of norms in order to support the healing. And with this grant, it's helping provide not only funding for the staff trainers, but to train the students, because we know it's much more powerful and sustainable when we're engaging our youth in this type of leadership, so that they can then train their families, train their friends. And it's it's a very organic process, and once you kind of learn it and practice it, it just becomes part of your daily reality. And in addition to the circle training, one of the things that I mentioned before is just the opportunity to kind of be out of the city, to be in nature, to have the opportunity to reflect, get back to some of the indigenous practices that we're trying to bring back into our practice as restorative justice leaders. I mentioned before the digital media component that ties into the restorative justice, because it's about using digital media for healing and for creating like a different narrative of what might be seen sometimes in the media, in order to push out a different narrative that's representative of the students and the families' voices. They do a lot of interviews with their family members, with their friends, giving themselves a chance to speak as well, and to make sure that it's being shared with an actual live audience is really key. So any support there, any interest would be much appreciated with all of the networks that this audience has.